This is the second video. This is the second video for the YouTube platform, but long form. But in this one, I really want to talk about why could I not create before, in whatever understanding I have of it in the present moment, in whatever I can look back and understand, in whatever form and amount I can look back and understand what happened, and like whatever limited understanding I have right now. From that, we are going to maybe just discuss why could I not start earlier, or why did I not start earlier, particularly in my sense, but in general, in the sense of creation of art, the process of creation. So there are a few screenshots that I have put on the YouTube cover. I will discuss one of them right now, and then we'll discuss the other ones later on. And then there are a few reels, maybe like not reels in this one, but anyways, there are some sources that I have that I resonated with in the past week or so regarding this topic, so we are going to discuss that. And other than that, maybe basically right now, by directly referencing the sources, I think what I am doing is again escaping the present scenario. What I am doing is trying to intellectualize, which is fine. You should try to understand things. The world has become a little bit anti knowledge, anything. Like the attention span is so low, and the cognitive abilities are declining on a faster rate than water levels are declining because of AI. So the point being, I do not know. That is the point. That is all that there is. That is what is the truth of the present moment also. That is what is the reality of the past, and the only certain thing about future is that I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know what the path is. I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know what I want to talk about. I do not understand why would someone want to listen to me. This is not in a self-deprecating manner. This is more in the sense of what can I say that has already not been said, and why should I say it. And also, this is in the sense of vulnerability. Like, I should understand everything and I should know everything before I put it out there. I should, as if I should be the end product of the process before I have undergone the process, before I have boiled myself for safety. this is a reference to GMM, but like before I have put myself up for a boil, I want to be cooked. I want to know the end product before I have started the journey, and I want to know the path, and I want to know the process, and I want to know the uncertainties so that I can prepare for them before I have left my house also. Like, I want to be ready for it all, which is impossible, which is the reason I did not leave the house at all, ever. There are also other things, there are multiple things that maybe I'll figure out and also discuss in the later parts of the videos. But one of the things in this regard that I want to read is a screenshot from Underrated Tales by Rachi. She, if I'm not wrong, it is Rachi's page. She has written an excellent caption for the movie Ashiki 2. Ashiki 2, if you are not aware, is a movie where the lead actor is addicted to alcohol and going through addiction and everything, and then they fall in love and everything, but the lead actor ends up committing, can I say this word? Don't know what is censored or not, but he ends up committing suicide and she is left alone. And you hate him for doing that, for like losing hope and everything. But then the way she puts it is very, very understandable, Not to justify suicide, please. Genuinely, the point, even if we talk about people who do end up committing, it is very easy to say that they gave up and everything, but I think people who have left us because of the struggles of their mind were not people who were not brave enough, or who just were not resilient enough. They were people who tried as hard as they could, like there is more that goes into it. Systemic failures, we as a society fail if someone ends up feeling so lonely that they have to give up on life. And this is, again, there are nuances to it. This is not on someone who can be surrounded by extremely loving family members can also end up feeling isolated. This is not a guilt to be put on those who were around the person. All of these discussions can be had in detail, but the point is, it is easier said than done. With all due respect, this is not a joke. It is easier said than done means it is easy to say I am going to give up, but it is very difficult to give up also. It is very difficult to, let's take death here. From here on, whenever I mention death, I am not talking about suicide. I am talking about letting go of the old leaves, like autumn, when you shed, how lobsters shed their shell. So like that is what we are talking about. We are not talking about death in the literal sense. So any form of shedding, like letting go of older versions or anything, that is what we can understand from her caption about the lead actor's literal death, lead character's literal death. You have to be very, very conscious about what you say on public platforms. Like, this is one of the reasons also I was like, I should say everything perfectly. I don't know how if I fuck up, but now I think I've grown enough to be like, if I fuck up, I'm going to apologize, and then we are going to move on from that. I am not going to let that be an excuse to just remain in the house again. We can't keep creating excuses to do that. Anyways, what she writes is, and I'll share the link in, not in bio, in the description. So what she puts is, the main lead's choice to die rather than change is not framed as a lack of love, but as a tragic misunderstanding of it. My heartbeat is up because I'm creating content. The character exists in a mental space where pain has become identity, where suffering feels so permanent that the idea of healing seems almost dishonest. Change in this state feels more frightening than death. It demands hope, and hope feels like a risk they cannot afford. What makes this decision heartbreaking is the intention behind it. The lead believes their existence itself is harmful than staying alive. Staying present, staying in love will only drag the person they care for into the same darkness. Love, instead of being a reason to endure, becomes a justification for disappearance. They convince themselves that leaving is an act of mercy, that absence is kinder than presence, and that sacrifice is the purest form of care they can offer. The fear is not just of failure, but of making things worse. Trying to heal means confronting wounds, changing patterns, and facing the possibility that effort might still not be enough. For someone already drowning in self-blame, that possibility, that effort might still not be enough, is unbearable. So the character chooses certainty over struggle. Death becomes a final controlled decision in a life that feels otherwise uncontrollable. So, to not change, to not move on, to not walk on the path of uncertainty, of unknown, of healing, or whatever they call it, is to try and have some sense of control over the life that feels is completely falling apart. This reminds me of Kung Fu Panda 1, where he says, Shifu says, I can control where the seed falls and everything. And then Oogway says, Oogway what? I am so nervous about it. All of this content creation, fucking piece of shit. But really, really nervous. not nervous in the sense of all, like, you know how the kind of anxiety that doesn't make sense in the mind, because I can talk to myself for hours, I can talk to people for hours as well, but to do something new and to all of this that we are talking about, it is making my heartbeat go up, it is making me fumble, and it is making me nervous in a good way, because I do feel good about it, but it is still unknown. So in Kung Fu Panda 1, Oogway says to Shifu, you have illusion of control. You think you can control it, you can't control it. So that is the caption, and it is so well written, and I am very, very glad that I came across it. Something that we do before someone else does is self-reject. I will reject myself before someone else gets a chance to reject me, so that I again have some sense of control over the narrative, so that I prepare myself for the worst before it happens. You know, there is another content creator who is going through 1,000 rejections. She has a diary and she puts NO, big NO, and then she does one thing every day or something. But then I have taken the screenshot of someone from Mikoro Others, something like that. He has created a spreadsheet about his 1,000 rejections. What that reminds me of, how we are the ones rejecting ourselves. My 1,000 rejections have come only from me. No one has rejected me because I have not applied anywhere. I have not approached anyone. I have not done anything. No one has rejected me. I have rejected myself. When I say I have not done anything, I am not saying, again, in the sense of the kind of doing that people think is doing is something that looks on the outside, which is what I also thought. But it is easy to give into the world's definitions of what counts as productivity and what is good enough for phases of life. But I do understand that, and because I have gone through it, the inner work of becoming who you are more and more is the ultimate thing, you know. My dad says the foundation is the most important part of a building, and sometimes it takes really, really long to like build a very strong foundation, you know. So it is fine. On a side note, I do have fabulous parents, but that will be for some other day. Something else that I wanted to talk about. I really do not have a completely connected chain of, I have not had a guideline for this video because I did not make it, but that is it, you know. That is all I have to say. Should I edit this or should I put it just like this? I don't know. Something else that is there to say is why I did not want to create. I really don't want to, I'm trying to find screenshots in the phone to just read, you know, rather than sit in the moment of genuinely trying to feel what else felt scary. I don't want to do it. It feels, that part of the brain is completely blocked. I do not want to go through that right now, you know, especially not when the social media access is on. So anyways, something else that we can read is this thing by this is another thing. I am thinking like, oh, this is not okay, right? I should not post something like this. That is so imperfect and that is so raw. But then this went like a very, very subtle, not loud, very meek thought in my head right now, and then the thought that was louder than that was that first make it exist and then make it better, you know. Even if I'm fumbling and even if I feel like I am not supposed to be the most me right now, you know. This video is, I'm talking to a camera, for fuck's sake. I should also not swear, but I'm talking to a camera. I'm not talking to a real person who I am close with or who I trust or stuff like that. There will be a distance, you know, and that is understandable. I cannot have idealistic expectations from myself that I then use as an excuse to not exist in a space that I should be existing. Not should be in the sense that I want to. at least now. So something else that we should read is another screenshot that I will put on the edits here, and that is about someone named Leonard Cohen. He says that's a very popular notion, that it is exclusively suffering that produces good work or insightful work. I don't think that's the case. I think in a certain sense it's a trigger or a lever but I think that good work is produced in spite of suffering, as a response, as a victory over suffering. That's an interesting concept, CTV says. A victory over suffering. Leonard Cohen. Yeah, because if the level or the degree of the intensity of anyone's distress or disorder is sufficiently high, you can't move. And for people who have experienced acute clinical depression, the problem is getting to the next moment. The room tilts, you lose your balance, and you are incapable of coherent thought. This is what I wanted to read. This is the part that is important to highlight. But this video is one without preparation. I think a more perfect approach to all of this would have been to have a proper guideline, and then to have the train of thoughts be kind of like outlined on a paper, and then read through them and talk about things, and I've already decided what I want to talk about and stuff like that. But that is not what is happening here, because this is my space and I am creating it, and there is no audience. Even if there is, right now I only have a camera in front of me, and I am my first audience, I am my first witness, and I want to exist imperfectly, because for so long there has been a paralysis of thought and action because of the idea of perfection, as if it is attainable. It is not attainable at all. The idea is faulty. The idea is merely an excuse. It is merely like just a lie, Anyways, something else that I should read, and then we'll wrap this video up. I know it will get better with time, but I am feeling like I need to redo this video or edit parts of it, because there are spaces where I felt extremely like this is not how it should be, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to post all of it exactly as it is, with all of my fumbles, because 10 years down the line, when Aarti Chamla, who is 37, when she will look back at these videos, she'll be really, really proud of me for doing this. Even if I feel a little bit stupid right now, I am doing this for my future version, and I am doing it for my past version, also my present version. I am just doing it for myself. That is the point. We don't know where it will go. I really don't know. I'm feeling such a tightness in my chest to not talk, and like just to not do anything. This is not natural and easy. When I talk to my friends, my God, I do not miss a single beat, and I keep talking for hours and hours, and and it feels natural, and there is not a single thought that is out of the flow, because all of it is happening everywhere, all of it is flowing. But right now it almost feels like there's a road through the forest, and I'm trying to be in the glow of the forest under the moonlight, but there is a straight construction road through it, and my mind is telling follow that, and I'm straying away from it again and again, but my mind again is going follow that. Anyways, the last part that we are going to read in this one is, which one? Is this post that I came across by Dallas Taylor. Probably that's how you pronounce their name. Not sure about the pronouns, but the point is their art. Their one, because it was the green background, like some almost like greenish background. So I really liked that, and that made me stay and read the entire thing, and I thank God I did, because it is a response to Sylvia Plath's fig theory. If we want to read that also, one second. Sylvia Plath's fig theory is like she writes the entire thing, and then what is written in it is, I saw my life branching out before me like the green fig tree in the story. From the tip of every branch, like a fat purple fig, a wonderful future beckoned and winked. And then she describes different future timelines. But she says, I saw myself sitting in the crotch of this fig tree, starving to death, just because I couldn't make up my mind which of the figs I would choose. I wanted each and every one of them, but choosing one meant losing all the rest. And as I sat there, unable to decide, the figs began to wrinkle and go black. And one by one, they plopped to the ground at my feet. So she talks about indecision, which is like, that is what I'm saying. Someone else's art describes things that you are going through without them even knowing you, because of the collective understanding and effect of grief. The nature of any form of grief ultimately is the same. If you bleed through a road accident, or may you never do, or if you fall down the stairs, you get blood from anywhere, it is going to be red. So any form of grief ultimately condenses to the same basic concept. There are the same 2-3 things that are controlling the entire thing, and all of that ultimately is just the fear of something, rather than maybe fear, maybe exhaustion. There are like basic 2-3 things that are the underlying concepts for almost all kinds of diseases known to any creative human being. All human beings are creative in essence, but there are few that choose the path of artificial intelligence. They are not creative. So that artificial intelligence may be in the phone, it may be in their minds, it may be in their philosophy to believe in war. In all sense, their intelligence is artificial and they are genuinely stupid. Other than them, in general, every person is creative, because you know how life is also an art and all of that. I don't want to get into it today, but I really can't breathe. So the response, trying to be so brave through all of this, really being vulnerable by putting this out there. But anyways, I'll forget I've put it out there. I'll hide. I will not look at it for 2 years. God knows where I'll be after 2 years. We don't know. But focus. So in response, the post that Dallas Taylor they made is, what a privilege it is to be uncertain. What an honor to know the unknown. To face the future with my chest and say, you do not scare or deter me. Side note, I am scared. I respect you earnestly, for I see you without contempt, as I know your vastness was gifted to me, delivered by my mother and many mothers before her, fighting tooth and nail to bring you to me in all your frightful glory. I will stare into the belly of the beast and say, I am not afraid. My figs cannot rot, for I am the tree and you are my soil. Beautiful. Extremely beautiful. Almost like the kind of art that you want to frame and put it in your head somewhere, or tattoo it on your forehead. I have space enough for that. But self-deprecating jokes apart, not really self-deprecating, but like, how you don't notice anything in yourself and then someone else notices it at 15 and it is one of your close friends, and then you notice it in yourself forever, like that. But we'll come to that some other day if I do keep creating content and do not delete all that I've done. So if I do post this video, this is it. I don't think as of now I can go much deeper into all of this. It is a process right now. This is one of the steps, and when we'll do the diary of failures, that is a series I want to do. I think that will be much more like cohesive with respect to, I think as we go through it, the entire thing will make much more sense. I am allowed to be messy and imperfect. So that is what this video is. Extremely messy and imperfect. Extremely big deal. But anyways, we are going to end this one.